Good morning, everyone. My name is Jen Sturgill, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webcast. It's a new year. Be ready to adapt. Before I introduce our guest speaker, I'd like to quickly walk you through the platform we are using today. What's in front of you is a flexible console, so feel free to drag, drop, or resize each window. If you do choose to close one of those windows, you may reaccess them at any time by choosing one of the corresponding buttons below. To your left is a live Q&A window. Feel free to submit any questions, and one of our moderators or guest speaker can answer those for you. Finally, feel free to download today's slides by clicking on the Documents folder icon located at the bottom of your screen. And now, I'd like to introduce our expert Microsoft speaker, Craig Kreskes, to the webcast. Craig, over to you.
Hey, great. Thank you so much, Jen, and welcome everybody to the new year. You know, every new year brings both the promise and the challenge of changes in your business. And, you know, to stay ahead of the curve, whether it's your customers' needs or security risks or compliance that requires instant access to the data that your business needs to support good decision making, you just can't afford limitations with existing accounting software. When you have a modern technology that delivers role-relevant information to your employees anywhere, you'll be ready to adapt at the pace of change your business is experiencing. So I think we all agree on the call today that technology should be an asset, one that helps you anticipate, manage, and respond quickly to change. Technology should make life faster, easier, and provide flexibility to adapt quickly to changing business needs, whether you're expanding your infrastructure that powers your business applications or you're adding new PCs, devices, and apps that help your employees do their best work. With a business solution from Microsoft Dynamics, whether it's in the cloud or on-premise, on your servers, you're able to better manage your financials, supply chain, and operations. And Microsoft offers technology solutions designed to support your business goals and growth ambitions. So as the year-end process begins for so many organizations, you know, we looked at today's session and compiled a few scenarios to demonstrate how Dynamics ERP can help you, number one, better manage your finances. Number two, consider a few ways to help streamline your closing process and get the most out of your money. And number three is how to incorporate ways to augment your regulatory and compliance processes today. So the first scenario that I wanted to share with you is around how do we manage our financial results. Everybody obviously is involved with creating monthly reports or year-end financials. And we need to consider the need or the challenge sometimes to reduce the number of days that it requires us to close a period. And so within this scenario, what I have is 6 steps outlined in the next presentation. Number one, I'm going to open up an existing statement, an income statement. 2, I'll review the design of how we built those building blocks, and then I'll generate a report. I've highlighted that in yellow to represent the shift from a power user. So the first 3 steps will be designed around a power user in the system. Then when I generate the report, I'll open up it and we'll review it as a senior leadership or somebody on your executive team that is primary responsibility to look at, analyze the data, and drill down into the details. So let's get started. So looking at the application of the module that I use to run our monthly and year-end financial reports, it enables me to quickly add and design reports however I want. It's very flexible. You'll see in the top left corner we have the report definitions. Now, for me and my organization, we found it relevant to create folder structures to which we can then pull in or revisit that. So I can design reports and then have the definition stored in by balance sheet or income statement. I've seen other organizations where they've report definition folders by year or by month. So purely flexible here. So you see that in my design I have all of my income statements, whether it's my 12-month trending report, I have a rolling quarter income statement here, or just grab the income statement. And you can see over in the center of your screen, we have the building blocks of row, column, and tree. And what I'll do is be able to quickly access those for review. So if I shortcut into the row design, one of the things you'll immediately notice is the look and feel, right? It's a Microsoft Solutions designed with an Excel backdrop, and it looks like Excel. And so you've got some formatting of my description for my accounts. And a couple things to point out here. There is the direct link to the general ledger. So you can see over in column J, I have my accounts that I'm pulling in. And I can pull those in a number of different ways. Number one, I could, as you see here, is a range. So I have all of my sales accounts that start with 4100 through 4185 coming across into row 130 in the sales. Since they're stored as a debit balance in the general ledger, I put a C, or the system automatically notifies me and puts a C to reverse the normal balance. So again, you could use ranges. We can look at, if you look at row 580, maintenance expense, I have account 6170 represented there. So again, I can tag that row as a specific account, or I can also, in addition to ranges, use wildcards. If you look at row 490, depreciation expense, I could double-click into the cell, and here's where I can select all of my my base accounts that start either with 62 or 63 I want to pull in and count that towards depreciation expense. Nice, the benefit for that, when I think about end users or designers of the reports, is as we add new accounts, I don't need to go in and modify or update my financial reports. The intelligence built within enables me to pull that in automatically. So you can see here I've got that represented again by my depreciation expense. A couple other highlights from just the design of a row format is the net sales. You see I've got it bold and in black. I've got some underlined rows here just above and below it. And then in column C, the format code, I'll just pull this up just to show you some of the multitude of options that we can do with a row. In this example here, we can do a total, which is a simple calculation. I could do complex calculation, which means multiplication, division, or even if-then-else logic. And then again, there are a number of different options. Often see folks kind of highlight or look up when they see the sort and A sort towards the bottom. So while my design of the report has salary, expense, row 430, and benefits and depreciation, if I were to represent a format code of sort, when I generate the report, I can have the rows be sorted based on the column value and have that in a sort or assorting, in a ascending or descending formats. Again, a ton of flexibility on how we design these reports based on what we like to see in an organization. So again, that is a kind of a quick glimpse into the row format. So I've got my horizontal axis defined. I want to now take a quick look at the column. So in the column layout, again, you've got that same spreadsheet look and feel. Kind of makes this, keeps us all in an environment that we're comfortable and familiar with. I've got the toolbar up below. I've got the navigation pane in the bottom left, similar to some of the earlier versions of Outlook. And in the top portion, I have my column headers. So you see the @calendar month in column B, header number 1. Essentially, that dynamically pulls in the description based on my period date or the base period when I run the report. And then I have a year-to-date hard-coded in. Now, column type, similar to the drop-down menu I showed you in the row, you've got a few options on how you want to define the column. I can have amounts coming in from my financial dimensions. Those are the transactions and coming in from the ERP system. I can set up a calculated column, or I can also pull in data from a worksheet here, the UKS. So if I've got data that's external but key to my reporting, I can certainly pull that in. Another benefit in the column layout, just to point out, you can see is this XBRL element. So I'm not sure if we have anybody on the call who is in compliance with some of the SEC and the XBRL reporting. We can tag all of our financial reports with the current taxonomy. So that's great for some of those who are from an audit or public organization. The descriptions, I'll just select the financial amounts. And then I've highlighted here the periods covered. I can have it as a current period. Again, that'll draw off the base period of my calendar. And then anyone who's looking at balance sheet reporting, we can recognize beginning balances as well. So, and then the description, column A just assigns where I want to put my accounts from my row format. So I can move column A over to column D, and then all of my account descriptions would appear on the right-hand side. So that's the row and the column. The third dimension is not required, but it does give us an element of dimensionality, and that is the reporting tree. This is a hierarchical view of your organization based on the chart of account structure. So if I shortcut out to that definition, you can see here again the spreadsheet look and feel consistent with the prior screens of row and column. And then in this case here, I just created a divisional tree. It's a structure that, again, is based on my chart of accounts. I can drag and drop and move these divisions. I can nest them under each other without ever changing my general ledger chart of accounts. So that's, again, another benefit we see from customers who may often come across reorganization in their company and need to shift the way the view of their financials appear. I also point out, if I scroll to the right, you'll see over in column L, it's called unit security. And this is where I can tag or secure units of my organization. So right now it looks like I've given access for everyone to look at essentially almost every branch in my tree with the exception of division 8 and 9. So when somebody logs into the viewer, which I'll show you in a moment, they are not able to access that without the credentials. To change that, you just double-click into the cell, and you select user groups, and you can see here it's pulling in my domain users. I can also use application security, but we've chosen, again, to kind of streamline our report distribution. So when I log in here, you can see I have selection. I could have more in my organization. If I were to select Phyllis, she would have access to just the branches of the tree that we've denoted. Close out of the tree here. And again, there's a ton more to look at here. You know, one of the things I think about for companies similar to you that maybe looking at streamlining and looking at year-end reporting, over on the bottom left in the navigation pane, we've got report groups, which enable you to design reports in groups so that there's a income statement that perhaps follows another income statement that is following a balance sheet. So you can basically chain reports together so that when you just kick off one report, subsequent reports follow. And then you also have scheduling capabilities, so we can schedule these reports to run on a recurring basis. And then as you saw with the security units I showed in the tree in that far right column, once the report's generated, it'll automatically do the distribution for you to the individual. So just want to give kind of an overview of just some of the design and the maintenance of a financial report. I'm going to go ahead and click Generate, and from that moment, I'm going to kind of switch screens from, or the role going from an end user or power user, I should say, to somebody maybe on the executive committee or senior leadership team that would receive a report. So this is the output of that report I just designed and modified. You see the fonts and the color. Again, that is what we call, I guess, the presentation style output for you to design a report. And users would log into a website. They can have the web viewer so they can access this information. I can export it to Excel, XPS, which is a version of a PDF. I could print and email that, which is great. But when I think about some of the analysis, I would then not start to think about, well, how do I find some of the anomalies or areas that maybe I'm worried about? So if I can search on any account description, or in my case here, I'm worried about this $90,000. I want to see where it is. And when I click on it, I highlighted that for you on the screen. It looks like travel expense is coming in at $90,000. So again, I could search next or put in any other search parameters. So able to quickly find any anomalies or any other data that you're looking for. Next, what you can do in the viewing design is I can right-click on any of my row or column and highlight that. In this case here, I want to take a look at all these expenses in a different way. So they've given it to me in a tabular report, which is fine, but you'll notice by selecting the column up in the ribbon now, you can see I have options to create charts. So maybe not the best example of something real life, but for our demo purposes, to get the point across is that I can take a financial report and with a right click, make that into a graphical view, and then just thumbnail that to the right-hand side, and I can continue my analysis. So it's great. I can have all types of graphs and charts. I've renamed this January, and to the right of the lightning bolt, you have a little collapsible chevron, so I can collapse that, or I can leave it and pinned open. So that'll stay with this report. And obviously here you see the comments and the plus sign for green. I can comment and annotate and have a more social experience as we're reviewing financials with the organization. Next is just to drill down the details. So I know a lot of times organizations worry about other expense, miscellaneous charges. So within the viewer, I can drill down into other expense. In my case here, if you remember that reporting tree, it was somewhat flat. I had divisional. The report was broken down by divisions, so I can drill into the division, and then I can start to see what were the other expenses by division, whether it's direct mail, bad debts, collection accounting, license fees, and so on. And while I didn't design this report to go any further, I can set this up so that it would invoke or drill down into the source document. So this isn't the only level of detail you can drill down into, but just, again, very fluid, easy, simple way for somebody to look at information in the way that's meaningful for them. So when I think about why that's important, what's the benefit to an organization, both from the design and the viewing, is it's a very simple report design. You've got flexible rows, columns, and trees that you can mix and match and apply and then generate. We can secure the financial results by individual or by group. And then most importantly is to isolate those anomalies with both the quick search as well as having graphical capabilities within that report. The next scenario that we designed for today was around workflow approval. You know, when I think about how often there are controls in place or the need for controls, one of which is around purchasing, right? I want to keep an eye on cash, and I don't want money just going out the door. I want to understand how we're spending. So with the current workflow scenario, I've got set up here, I'm going to have an end user, so somebody who is not necessarily a power user. They may not even have, they can have a limited access to the ERP system, but from their tablet, wherever it is, they can initiate a purchase requisition. Then what will happen is once I hit submit, it will notify the buyer who we set up as the approval process. So that can come from an email, it can come from any device, and then I'll submit that for a purchase order. So then that role, the individual who's the buyer would take that requisition and convert that to a purchase order. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that appears like. So now I'm in the ERP, I'm in my role-based homepage. If you've been on some of the prior webcasts, you've seen where we've talked about the apps and the requisition app and time card app. Business Analyzer on the bottom right is the one of the reporting dashboards that we surface from the role-based homepage. And then quick links, I can personalize my homepage based on how I work and navigate. You'll notice in the requisitions on the top left, I've got it highlighted in the ready for purchase. I have 5 requisitions ready for purchase. So I'll click on the enter a requisition. You'll see it's requisition number 22. I don't have to know as an originator of a requisition. I'm not required to know what the inventory items are. I can requisition inventory or non-inventory items. We certainly provide a simple lookup for those. who aren't familiar with it, or you can just type it in. So I hit select. I want to order the Surface Pro. I hear a lot about the Surface Pro 3s. I know the NFL has been using them on the sidelines. I want one in my office. So I'll select the Surface Pro. I just want one, and I'll click on that. And then let's see if I can find who I think might be the vendor. Or maybe I saw that online. So again, not a required step because from the requisitioner, this is what I want. I'll let the buyer handle that. So that's it. That's all I need to do to requisition. I can click up here on the submit button. You see step 1, it's not submitted yet. We'll come back and review that status. And then the auto numbering in the dynamic system, it then goes subsequent to number 23. But we'll come back there. I want to minimize that and come back to the second step now. That is the notification. So I'm logged into my Office 365 account. That's my cloud version of Outlook and of Office. And you see here that I get tasks assigned to me. And in this case here, Katie Jordan is our buyer. And so she's got a email notification that pops up and tells her she's been assigned a task. We kind of look down the details in the red box on the right. Here's the required date. Here's the amount. She can certainly look at the details of it. She can delegate, reject, but I think she's more likely to approve something like that. Opens up into a form, which again would present itself in a mobile device or a tablet as easily as it is on a PC. Type in approve or whatever notes that we want to capture in the audit trail, and then that's it. We click back, and I want to come back to the system and just do a quick lookup on requisition number 22. So I do a lookup here. I'll pull that back in and select it. And now you can see that step, I have an audit trail of when that was approved. So that's been completed. So for my edifice edification, that step's been completed and I can move on. So we'll close out of that. And then you notice too, I get an update on my home page. There's now 6 ready for purchase. Well, let's go ahead and convert that as the last step in the requisition. We'll go ahead and convert that. You see here I've got requisition number 22. I can select on the checkbox, and again, leveraging the user experience and the familiarity we have with other Microsoft applications, you'll notice that the ribbon highlights up at the top is the action pane where I can take certain actions. In this case here, I want to convert that to a purchase. So I click on the purchase button. I'll select generate, and it opens it up into, in this case here, we chose Word as the output. I can certainly secure, lock that, email it, convert it to a PDF, whatever it is that we need to do in an organization, but then that's the format we can create for you. And then you notice, again, ready for purchase. Now it's gone. I went down from 6 to 5. So that's just a quick wrap-up on the workflow engine. There are a number of different workflow automations to help streamline and also make sure that your processes run smoother. A few other things that came to mind as I think about year-end that I wanted to highlight. There were 2 in particular. If I select onto the administration and select onto fiscal periods in my area page, we can also secure this information as far as what transactions get posted in a particular period. So you can select here into that fiscal period setup. I can do open all or close all. I'll scroll down to the bottom here, and let's say, for example, we still have a couple of outstanding documents that we need to modify or to transact. I can go into the financial series for period 12, sales and purchasing, and open them up, but leave everything else closed, and then click OK. So by doing that, I will disallow, or no transaction will take place in any other period. So we can certainly do that on a month-to-month or even on a year basis. And then coming into my homepage once more, I wanted to come into the financials area and talk about one of the utilities that does simplify their experience in terms of audit and in terms of spending so much time. I always hear and read experience about how year-end close or month-end close procedures, how people or the procedures, they're so busy processing transactions. Then when it's time to present the accountant or audit firm, they detect significant problems with their data. So one way to mitigate that is to use the utility here to reconcile the general ledger. You see here I've got my cash account 1100 selected. From the drop-down, you see we have this available for both payables, receivables, inventory, and bank rec. And I'll just select on receivables management and process. And great. Everything looks copacetic. I'm happy. I know my accountant's going to be happy. Beginning balance on the left-hand side is in line with the beginning balance and ending balance on the right. However, if there were discrepancies, they would appear on this window, which is nice. But I might also need to export that to a format of Excel so that I can then start to isolate, isolate the problem areas. So you see the way this utility generates a report. I've got match transactions. What's in the subledger matches the general ledger. I could have unmatched transactions or potentially unmanaged where I've got one in the subledger but not in the general ledger. So it's just a simple yet powerful tool to help an organization as we're going through year-end or month-end to find out what are some of those problem areas. And that's our presentation, our webcast. You know, our goal is to assist small and medium-sized businesses to use technology and to make them more successful, whether it's about improving operational efficiency or protecting data or helping employees be more productive and connecting with customers. You know, only Microsoft, I truly believe, offers a complete platform with the flexibility to deliver the solutions that you need from server to cloud, desktop to mobile. So with that, I want to thank you all for your time. Please return and visit, learn more about our solutions at Microsoft.com, and we invite you to take a test drive on the site. Thank you.
Craig, you can go ahead and end your screen share.
Okay.
Thank you.